Zara Rogo is a music artist, amazing singer songwriter, phenomenal guitar player, and lover of health and nature. Her website is rogothewild.com. You can find her music and videos across many online platforms, including Spotify and YouTube. She recently played a concert in Portland at the Aladdin Theater and blew the crowd away with her fantastic songs. In fact, she mentioned that the concert was the first night that she had her brand new album, Wilderness, in hand available for purchase. So we bought a copy and she autographed it for us. That's where we met and asked her to do an interview on AM 1450 KBPS with our broadcasting students. With many thanks to Zara Rogo, here is our interview. Thanks for watching. Please support KBPS by visiting kbps.am and support Zara Rogo on her website, rogothewild.com.
Zara, it's so nice to have you on AM 1450 KBPS, the voice of the Portland Public Schools. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
For listeners who don't know you yet, tell us a little bit about yourself, because on your website, rogothewild.com, you're described as Dolly Parton and Robert Johnson walking into a Tarantino film. Could you just explain that?
Yeah, so I'm a guitar player and songwriter, currently living in Los Angeles. And I just have a passion for taking the guitar and just kind of doing unique things with it, whether it's tuning, whether it's using the slide. And my passion is kind of using that steel guitar. So yeah, I just like creating different compositions that really paint different stories.
Great. How is it being an up-and-coming artist in post-pandemic 2024?
Well, it feels good because I love playing music. I don't think it's always a simple answer in terms of like how it's going because, you know, as being a musician, like the times are always kind of up and down, but there's a lot of like cool moments that I like to hang on to, like you know, my recent tour and recording this recent album. So it feels really good to do what I love and to play music for people that enjoy it.
Yeah, on your website, it says that your music is partly inspired by Indian music and that you grew up by an Indian family. And so you had sort of those influences, quote, I fell in love with the culture and the music, which influenced my style in writing. How does that influence shine in your work?
Yeah, so primarily I'm really inspired by all my time in the public library. I'm a big library nerd, and back when I was a kid, they had just stacks of CDs, and they're still there in a lot of the libraries, but not so much now as it used to be. But I would just go into the library and get stacks of CDs, whether it's klezmer music, whether it's Arabic music or Indian music, blues music, rock music, whatever, jazz, and I would take them home and I would listen to them. So I feel like it is very much, and classical music is very much influenced my music today. And not necessarily you would be able to tell by listening to it, but um, I think how I approach to composing the music is as a result of all that type of music I've listened to.
You co-host a YouTube channel called Norman's Rare Guitars. Can you tell us a little bit about what that's about, what happens, and how that got started?
Yeah, so I didn't start Norman's Rare Guitars. I actually became an employee of them years and years and years ago. I just kind of walked in and was new into town and needed a job and was like, I'll do anything. I'll sweep floors, I'll clean bathrooms. So that's kind of literally what I did for a while. And then they kind of became like family. And then I started to do guitar demo videos for them and with them. And then I did kind of a branch off little show called Rogo and Friends, where I would host like my friends, and we would just play our music and highlight these really beautiful vintage guitars.
Nice. Again, from your website, it says rogothewild.com. It says that Paul Rischel and a guitarist and Annie Raines, a harpist, taught you, quote, the survival tactics of life on the road. How is life on the road as a musician? And do you have any survival tactics that you'd be willing to share?
Yeah, definitely. It's something I really enjoy talking about because Inherently, I used to really, really love just being on the road all the time and just kind of being a Jack Kerouac, Dharma bum vagabond. But now that I'm kind of getting a little bit older and just really like love my home and love like my healthy foods and my sleep, going out on the road is not always what I enjoy unless if I really do it the right way. Um, and when I do it the right way, I do enjoy it. So some of the things that I really employ is finding the right places to stay. And even though it's cheaper to find, friends of friends to stay with and crash on this couch or whatever, I really like to find kind of lower budget hotels kind of within the same chain. So I know what I'm used to and my surroundings are kind of the same. And also kind of trying to hack the food because I love healthy food. So oftentimes I will pre-make a bunch of food and just bring it in coolers and heat it up myself. Or I'll just go to like a Whole Foods hot bar. So I find that health, like putting health first is really just what will sustain you, that with like light exercise every day. So it doesn't sound too enticing and exciting of advice, but when you're really on the road and doing that, playing every day, and you're over the age of like 25, you really have to like keep your health in mind to sustain you for the long run.
Behind you, I see that there's a Peloton bike. Is that part of your health routine?
As I'm actually trying to sell it, so if anybody wants to,
Oh.
I'm actually not a big bike rider as I've discovered. I do enjoy going to the gym. I enjoy like lifting weights and going for really long walks and just doing basic Pilates and stuff like that. But the Peloton I didn't really gravitate towards as much as some of the other things.
Well, good luck in selling it.
Thank
Uh,
you. Thank
your
you.
your concept record, Sunfall, Blues, Mantras, and Other Instrumentals for the Evening Hours, is described as, quote, an ode to the woods at twilight. I can personally relate to the beauty of the world, especially after dark, and was wondering if you had any other natural inspirations or nature-themed inspirations.
Yeah, definitely. I loved making that album. I love the woods. So you guys are in such a beautiful part of the
Oh,
country. I'm a little
yeah.
jealous. And I just love how the woods makes me feel, especially at a certain time of day. So I wanted to create something that tried to was like a screenshot of that, but musically. I'm really inspired by Mongolian music, and Mongolian music is very inspired by nature, particularly their horses. They create a lot of like their rhythms da-da-dum, da-da, based on different canters of horses, trots, canters, walks, gallops. They use a lot of their rhythms, and then they sing a lot about how they revere and they love their horses. Now, I don't sing about how I love horses, but I love like the rhythms that they use, and I'm directly inspired by that type of music. So um, I feel like nature is like my number one inspiration. I've learned as I've become more of a seasoned artist that it's okay to sing about nature, but I feel like oftentimes you can really make a lot of things into a metaphor and even just translate how nature makes you feel and turn that into a love song or um, a song about death and rebirth or something. You don't always have to sing directly about nature, but to me, like pretty much all my music has just like ties to nature.
Yeah, recently, you've released a new album, Wilderness Chapter 6. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, yeah. So the album Wilderness is being released kind of song by song. Right now we're on chapter 6 that was just released. And then the full album, I think there's 8 songs total. Right now the vinyl and the CD is out, as you can see, in totality. But we're releasing it track by track. And that's because we're really telling a story and painting a picture of a story arc here. It's about my trials and kind of tribulations within the entertainment industry, within the music industry. And just kind of my anger and angst about like the robbing of the innocence of the youth kind of within this space. And I started it during the pandemic and a lot of just like anger and angst just kind of cre- uh, led itself into art, which is always just such a beautiful thing. So this album is really dark hued and cinematic. It's explosive. It's the kind of nothing like I've ever done. It's just really passionate and intense. I kind of like to think that it's like a Marvel movie. I specifically composed the music thinking about film in mind. And already the first track, Tough Medicine, was picked for a coming of age vampire film. So I hopefully it'll continue to get placed in films and TV shows because that's what I really envisioned for the album. So.
Yeah, we actually have Tough Medicine on KBPS, and we've been
Oh,
playing it
yay.
around a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah, I can, anger and emotions going into music, and then music going into empathy. I saw that you were on TEDx before, and you talked about how music can spark empathy. How was that experience?
It was great. I really enjoyed doing that. I realized that like it's something I love, just like being on stage in any format, whether it's like speaking or playing. And I just enjoyed the whole process and being at that event with so many different speakers speaking about different things. I had a really, really great time.
Yeah, you are obviously, a composer, you're a singer, but you're also an activist. Could you tell us a little bit about that and how your activism and music sort of mesh?
Yeah, I mean, I think the word activism for me, it's it's not as black and white, I think, as the world like pegs it to be. I'm not always like fighting for certain causes at a time. Sometimes I am, but it's mostly just being an activist for change, especially within the music industry. Like that's what I my calling is to create safer spaces within the music industry for everyone. Um, and yeah, just make that area of the world a little bit of a brighter place. So that's my main like kind of like focus of activism.
Great. You playing any upcoming shows, and how can people find and support you?
Let's see. I am what do I have in the works? For summer gigs, I'm actually not going too many places this summer. I'm working on just taking care of my health and getting to know myself as a writer again after spending so long in the production stage of this album. I have some gigs here and there in Southern California. But what I'm really focusing on is getting this record out there, and then I'm already in the process of starting the next one because I can't help myself. So that's kind of what's in the works. And I have some tours and shows that I'm kind of trying to get together for the fall.
Great. Maybe you could hop down here to Portland and go on KBPS
Oh,
someday, go
I
live.
I love Portland. It's amazing. It was my first time going this past tour, and I loved it.
Yeah, and then we have this little sign thing, and you said what is sorry. Keep radio alive. Just want to make sure I didn't misquote you. Could you tell us, kind of do you have an attachment to radio?
Yeah, I mean, growing up on top of the public library with the CDs, my parents weren't really they're not music people, like they don't hate music, but they don't love it. So I just had the CDs and I had the radio. That's it. We didn't have Spotify, we didn't have iTunes, we didn't have any of that. At one point, LimeWire came along and we could, cop some music, but we burned CDs with friends and shared them. So I think radio is really underrated. And here in Los Angeles, we have 88.5, a really great SoCal sound, a really great radio station that is just so supportive of me, and it brings my music to new ears. And I think we get really caught up in today's age trying to figure out Spotify algorithm or figure out this when we just forget that we have the radio, the good old radio. And I have been lately listening to the radio and really enjoying it. I'm always like, what song is this? And taking note of that. So I think radio is really unfortunately underrated, and I hope that it gains more momentum as the
Yeah, thank you.
yeah.
We also have your song Spark, and we've been playing that as well. We have a couple songs. Hopefully, we'll get some more as you keep producing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. We've been speaking with artist Zara Rogo, and her website is rogothewild.com. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime.
Appreciate it.